Hello guys, again here. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the new probe and directional scanner interfaces. It also came paired with the new map. Even though I've not enabled it in the settings, it's still there. So if you press on solar system map, you'll have the new map here. What I do really like is the new D-scan indicator. You did used to have a similar thing when you press F12. F11, sorry. So F11, then you had this thing, which also, if you can see it on the bottom right, gave you a little impression of where your D-scan was, but it wasn't as effective. Now it is definitely clearer what you are focusing on. Also, if you do it in a cone, like this, you will see the exact cone that your D-scan is actually picking up on, which is pretty good. But for this video, I'm mainly going to talk about the scanning interface and what I think about it. So let's see if we have some cosmic signatures here. We actually do. Let's orbit here at 500. So when we launched, I mean, this is pretty similar to what we have before. Let me reduce. I wish we can not show the directional scan thing all the time, because it gets quite confusing. Like what, I mean, it does have a grid on it, so it's pretty clear that it's not a signature, but it's a bit, I don't know, I'm not sure about it. So I usually make it just pretty small so it doesn't bother me too much, and it's clear that that's actually the directional scanner thing. So here's two signatures. What I do like is that you can double click a signature now, and it has like a little dot in the middle with a sphere around it, because before it had to be a dot. You had to scan it down until it was a dot, until you could center your camera on it. So that is an improvement. What I don't like as much is that it seems like it's a little bit harder to grab on to the handles for some reason. You really have to be on the edge of the bubbles to be able to really drag it out. So it does still work, but in the beginning, for some reason, I had some issues with it. Like now, like see, I'm dragging, but it's not exactly on there, so you really have to be on there. So what I do mostly with the new map is press Alt and then resize my probes that way. That seems to be a little bit easier. Then you have, when you press Control, you have this thing. It's like for rearranging your probes, pretty similar to what we had before. And then the movement handles are pretty much the same. But see, this is kind of annoying, because if there's anything right in front of it, you're actually dragging that, which is not too good. So you have to really zoom in or press the arrow. But I really like to press the center block, and when it's really cramped up or something on something, and if it has a circle right there, if you see that, you have to press on the side and then drag it that way. So that does slow me down a little bit. It seems it's probably something I need to get used to, but it's also the same thing on the little dot in the middle that also has like a little circle around it, and you can't drag on that, which is kind of annoying in my opinion. I really like to drag on that thing. But alright, let's analyze. The analyze button has also changed, and they've gotten rid of a bunch of buttons here. They made it a lot simpler. If you just get a custom formation going that you like, you can just press save current formation. Before it was a little bit more complicated, not super complicated, but complicated enough for people to get confused. So that's much better. It's a lot simpler, the interface, and I mean, it still works. I mean, I can do it just fine, but it's just those little pesky things like dragging on the little circle thing, and yeah, having to be right on the edge. I think it was like that before. I'm actually not sure, because it seemed like before it was easier to just redrag the probes. Whenever I'm on a probe, I want to, if I drag, I want to resize it, and if I want to recenter my camera, I'll just drag outside. That's just what I like to do, but like for example here again, I couldn't drag it because it was on that thing, so that's pretty annoying. So this is like a circle, but I don't know if this is actually a classic circle, because it seemed like a pretty odd spot to have that in. It's also a dotted circle. It might be the classic circle that we're used to. but I might have to revise my my EVE Exploration Academy episodes a little bit for this, because I mean, it's not a huge difference, but probably enough to confuse people that watch the series and are not familiar with it. Like now, I don't think it's the classic one, because I've got my probes right on it, and it should. If it's like a classic circle, it should have more than 2 probes on it. Definitely, and that's not working. So I'm guessing it's kind of different now, which is kind of weird. Why would they like change the mechanic of this circle? Because clearly there were more than 2 probes hitting it, so it shouldn't have been a circle. So now I make it bigger, and now it's suddenly a relic site. That's kind of odd, in my opinion. So there's definitely room for improvement. Still, like, oh, look, I want to drag it, but it's right on the probe. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this, to be honest. It was a lot easier in the previous map for me to probe, because I didn't have those nuisances that I have right now. Agreed, there are some improvements, of course. But I didn't see what was wrong with the mechanics of the previous map. I agree that this looks a lot better, but I think they just could have kept the same kind of mechanic of scanning, and then just improve the visuals or something, because in my opinion this is not too big of an improvement. Of course, pressing Alt and resizing, that works, and this is a lot better. I mean, it's pretty much the same, of course, and that's exactly the same as it was before, except for that dragging thing, and being able to click on a signature that is not completely scanned down. That's an improvement, of course. But I'm not completely convinced yet. I think it's a little bit less efficient than it was before. Probably you need to get used to it a little bit. I mean, once you get down to press Alt to resize, then it's you get it every time. And yeah, I guess using the arrows, I like this much better because it gives me a lot more versatility, in my opinion, than just dragging on the arrows. But it's all little quirks that I'm used to from all those hours of scanning that I'm used to, that I'm noticing. But probably new players aren't gonna notice it per se. Maybe it's gonna be a little bit harder for them to grasp it at first, because the scanning interface before was already pretty complicated for a new player. When I started playing, it was already pretty complicated, and when they tried to drag the block and it's like stuck on that, like, oh my god, that's so frustrating. So I think when they're trying to focus, I mean, if you launch your probes, you really want to focus them on a certain thing. So see, I'm now dragging that again. So you want to focus on the signature, and that signature, if it's not scanned down, already has a dot and a little circle thing around it that you can click on. That's good, but at the same time, if you can't drag from that, then they might be like, why is that? And you might argue that you don't have to drag it when it's already on there, but if you want to move to a different signature, for example, it can be a little bit just annoying. So for new players, I think that might be annoying as well, and just resizing the probes doesn't always work if you don't press it exactly right, and they have to know about the alt. So I'm definitely gonna have to review, make a new EVE Exploration Academy video, just for the purpose of trying to explain this once the final map is out, because I think it's still in beta. When it gets out of beta, I'm definitely gonna try to revise that episode, the scanning video. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts. I'm not completely convinced yet, but I'm sure they're going to improve it further. I do like the new, like I said, the new D-scan feature. Love that to bits. Like seriously, if you can actually see the cone. It was also always really hard to understand for me when I was a new player, how the D-scan cone actually worked. It was pretty hard for me to figure out. But now when we align to something, we should be able to see a change. Or I don't know completely what I'm talking about, and I don't know how D-scan works. There we go. So it's actually the camera, of course. It's gonna change that. So they might want to actually make it so that you can change the D-scan position from this window, right? Because simply aligning to something does not change that. So you really have to exit the map, change your vision, and press the map again, which is kind of annoying again, because you cannot really change the way your D-scan is facing. You really have to go outside the map and then go in again just to check on the map, which is kind of stupid. I mean, you should be able to change it in this window. So yeah, that's basically my my thoughts. I like the D-scan thing, but it's definitely can use some improvement. And yeah, just the dragging on circles. I mean, come on, you should be able to do that. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Also, quickly, another thing: when you're in the scanning interface and you press Control F9, then you just get a black screen. Nothing there anymore. What would be better is to have this as part of the kind of game environment, I guess, and not really part of the UI per se, and then still have the scanning interface, and when you press Control F9, not have blackness, because that's kind of weird.